Jamie, I just wanted to let you know we just got the live stream fixed. So we are live now, just FYI. But you're still
Okay.
fine to just sit here and wait for them to rejoin.
Oh, okay. So they'll pop on the screen here in a minute.
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
Mhm.
New owners, and then grandfather goes away, and you have to come up to, yeah, and you have to come up to standard. Okay, sorry. Are we good?
Yeah, just an FYI, so we actually got the YouTube channel figured out, so we're streaming again.
Okay, very good. Okay, we'll come off of this. We took a recess for 10 minutes due to technical difficulties, so we're coming back online now. So we'll continue with new business and the discussion of the Sheriff's Department services. So we went up and had a conversation with the Sheriff's Department and asked them if there was a way that they could just, help us out a little bit. And so he suggested that we could go into a contract. It's the same contract that they have with the city of Natchez. So we put into our agenda the one for the city of Natchez. But I had sent it to Jamie to look it over, and he sent us back a revised one, which is just beside you on the counter. And this is the revised one that has our name in it, and it's not the city of Natchez. It's actually, I think that it would be really beneficial to us because we're having a hard time finding police officers. So is everybody else. Everybody's looking for cops. And the one police officer that we have, he's running ragged. And this is a good way to bring him some help. What it would be, they would come in every single day, no less than 3 hours a day. They wouldn't be 3 hours consecutive. They would be an hour here, an hour there, an hour there. They would also help answer our calls. If our cop is not on duty, they would come and answer our calls, which they don't do that for cities right now. Through this contract, they would. With this contract, it is everything that has to do with them. They bring their own car, they use their own insurance, they use their own everything. If their police officer, if the sheriff is here on duty, and he gets in some type of altercation and he's hurt, it goes back on the sheriff's department, not on the city of Mapleton. Their insurance would cover him, their medical would cover him, everything would be covered through their agency. If there's arrests made by them, say they're in and they're here for an hour, they arrest somebody, and they take that person to jail because they arrest him, we are not charged for jailing them. We're not charged for transporting them like we are today, like we are right now. That's part of this package with them.
But their hours won't consist of traveling time, right?
No, and that was something he specifically stated. The hours that we give you will be in-town hours. The way that that will be monitored is the way they monitor. They do this not just in Nut Cheese. They do it in, there's a couple, Hera. There's one more. Maybe. I know there's at least one more. And this can't just come through us. It also has to go through the county commissioners. County commissioners have to sign off on this as well because it is, the sheriff's department is county. But they know that they can give us this. And it's way, way within our budget to do this. Along with this, we will have code enforcers. We want them as part of it. It also is part, the dog catcher, or not, I shouldn't say, animal control is part of this agreement as well. I ran it through Jamie Carmody. He says this is a pretty good thing. I ran it through Jameson and Josh. They said we definitely can afford to do this. And he told us, you know, if we can get this started, we can, you know, our DEA is at your disclosure. Our, you know, different things is at your, our SWAT's at your disclosure. So it'll be a really good thing for us where we don't have to sign a contract like we was trying to do before, $600,000 a year. This is a pretty straightforward contract, what they will do. And at the end of each month, they will send a printout to us. It'll say what police officer was come into our city, what exact time they come into our city, what time they left our city. All of that is documented, and then we get that every month, at the end of every month. So they can show us that they have given us their hours every day. They put it on paper. And he said the sheriff comes into town and he goes over the radio, I'm here in Mapton at this time, and they clock it all. And so we really need something like this, you guys.
What's the monthly charge on one of them?
So it's on here, Judy. So it's on page, it's on page 4. No, so it's not on the page, on the new contract that we have, because, you know, but it will be the same. He said that they would charge us the same amount that they charge Nat Cheese. Okay, so he said, we'll just take their contract, put your name on it, and go with that contract.
And you don't have any idea what that charge is?
Yeah, it's right here, page 4. Not of that one.
I don't have it.
I don't have it.
Inside your packet. Inside your
I
packet.
did.
Inside your packet on page 4. Yeah.
Yeah, and this one.
So the cost would be $7,482 a month at an annual rate of $89,790. We talked it over with Jameson, talked it over with Jamie. Jamie Carmody, do you want to give some input on this, of some of the conversation and some of the stuff you saw in this as you was going through it?
Sure. It's a pretty simple, straightforward contract where they're just providing support services at 3 hours. As far as the dollar amount, that's something to double check on, but it sounded or looked reasonable to me. There was nothing unusual in the contract, and I thought that it provided the additional support that you needed. It's pretty broad, and they're accepting a pretty wide range of responsibilities with documentation that you'll get. So I was comfortable with the form of the contract. The concept, while I don't get a vote, the concept makes sense to me to provide some support to you. I do know that as a general matter, everybody is struggling to provide police coverage, law enforcement coverage. And I think the real world is this is an option that gives you some support that might otherwise be hard to achieve right now. And I think you can always continue to go along and look for additional officers and see what happens with that.
That's what I was gonna
I
ask.
have a question. So how much would it cost us to have one more officer? How much does it cost per year to have one more officer instead of this 89,700?
The thing is we have the budget for another officer. The problem is finding that officer, because we're bringing in officers right now. I can't remember the actual dollar amount, but I'm gonna throw out about 45,000 a year maybe. But you go to the sheriff's department and they can't find officers and they're paying 100,000 a year. Tri-Cities is paying 100,000 a year. So we're at the very bottom of the barrel when it comes to finding cops, because they're gonna go somewhere where they can make double the money.
But if we do in the future find two or whatever.
We would-
Do we have to stay with these guys or, okay?
No, this is an annual contract, and after 30 days, it says termination of cause either party may terminate this agreement while or in part by notifying to the other party of termination the reasons therefore. Effective dates thereof provide such effective dates shall not be less than 30 days of notification. That's on the 5th page, right under number 6A. So if either one of us ever want to stop this contract, all we have to do is give a 30-day notice.
Remember also that they're providing cars, they're providing equipment, they're providing uniforms, they're providing medical insurance. They're providing all of those items for the employee. So you can't make a dollar for dollar. You can't take 43,000 and say, okay, that's a comparison to 89,000, because there's a lot more factors that go into it in terms of other expenditures that we don't have to make because they're providing that service.
And Jameson, while you're on, since you are on there, Josh, can you just pull that up and give us the actual amount?
So yeah, so another police officer will cost a minimum of $75,140.58.
And then is that everything? Is that insurance, all of that, or that's just?
Yeah,
That's
yeah, but that's the base. That's as low as it's going to be, including all of your insurance and all of that stuff.
What did you say the amount was? 75,000 what?
$75,140.58. So the other thing to keep in mind with that though is if we have the county start taking care of services, then that means that the county, when they go out and they issue tickets and those kinds of things, that's going to be funds that go to them, not to us. So we need to keep that in mind when we start figuring any tickets, any citations that they're going to issue are going to be money for them, not money for Acton.
No, there's only certain ones, I think. Let me read through this. Because it says,
So this thing, they're only gonna work 21 hours a week for us.
correct. But everything is provided. So the number that Josh gave you is just the cop. Okay, it's not the car. It's not anything else to go with the cop. It's just the cop price. You know, there's
Yeah,
uniforms,
75 versus
$1,500 for
89.
uniforms. You know,
We
another.
get them twice
couple
Do we
hundred
not
bucks
have
a
any uniforms?
They can't, they don't wear each other's uniforms. They're all sweaty and they get blood on them and they,
Oh.
yeah, you
Okay.
have to get a new uniform.
Are we required to have a chief? Because
No.
we're not required to have a chief.
No, because the police officer that we have has the credentials, everything we need to have to keep our police department healthy,
Okay.
as we say.
And what's that gonna do to Victor? Will that change his hours?
No,
or-
what we're gonna do with him, the way that we plan on working this is every month we will send a schedule to the sheriff's department. And then the sheriff's department will have his schedule, so they won't schedule people here while he's here.
So they won't overlap.
They won't overlap. Their times specifically will be
When
when
he's
he is not here, or if there's a 911 call and they will come dispatch. It won't get put on hold. Right now, a lot of times, our calls are put on hold until our only cop comes in. And them calls can be on hold. If it's his day off tomorrow, it could be on hold for 30 hours. But in this situation, they won't hold the calls anymore. They'll answer the calls. And that's a big thing for our citizens, it's really the only gripe that the city has now. Before it was the water, it was the this, it was the that, it was the this. And the city hall got broken into. Last week, they broke the back window and they come in Juan's room. When they got up here, the alarm went off, so it scared them, so they left. But because it was a break-in, a burglary, the sheriffs wouldn't come. The sheriffs won't dispatch to that. But if we go under this contract, they would dispatch to that. They would come here at 3 in the morning.
Did they take anything from your office? No.
No,
I was gonna say, so if somebody called 911, they'll will not send anybody? Seriously?
not unless it is a life-threatening emergency. Only life-threatening.
Well, I got that experience and I didn't think it was fine. It took them a little over an hour before somebody came to help one officer. And I was pretty upset because that officer could have got hurt.
Yeah, a lot of our officers, it's really hard for us, even when we have two, because we never have two cops on at the same time. If you have two cops, they don't run together. If you have 3 cops, they can't run together. The shifts make it where they're always alone,
That's bad.
and so we have to be able to protect them, protect us. What if some crazy person come to our house because they didn't like something we was doing in the city? How long would it take for a cop to get here at that point? A long time. But if we have this contract, it obligates them to come. I think from everything, if you want my real opinion, this is something that we really need to do, you guys. I know it's a lot of money, but we have money in the police department fund. We haven't went over that budget since I started because we haven't had a full police force. So the money's there and it won't hurt us at all. This won't hurt us. It'll help us. And I love the fact that there's a dog catcher involved, there's the DEA involved, that there's, people that can come and help. There's code enforcing if we want.
You did say that, but I don't see code enforcement on here.
Well,
It
that
says
was,
law enforcement and animal control only.
no, but that was something that that was discussed up there, that, along with this, you have these other things if you want them.
So if we do this, are we gonna still keep our search going?
Oh, yeah, it's still
I
open.
don't mind doing it for,
Yeah,
time to-
our applications are still open. We're still
So you
actively
haven't gotten
searching.
any applications at all?
We've gotten a few applications. We got one I really, really liked, very positive, but the amount of money that was requested was just way out of all of our ballparks. So we just
Yeah.
couldn't do it. Just was too much money for us. If we could pay that, then, I don't know.
So say their 21 hours are up and something happens, will they still respond?
They would still respond, yeah. Yeah, it sort of helped, they're already through our town a little bit, but they won't really do much. They're just here to, be here. And another thing that we're gonna change in this process is when our chief come on, he stopped all access to any police officer at all in the whole valley coming into our police department. All the access was changed. In the past, they would come down, use the restroom here, they need to use the restroom. This was their hub in the lower valley to do that. We plan on opening that back up. That'll bring some more visibility of sheriffs. State Patrol don't even come here anymore. but they will, because they'll have this hub right here.
That was nice when they would come around and use the facilities over here next door or at the fire station.
Yeah.
Because we knew then there was somebody around all the time. They would just come and like maybe visit here with other officers to exchange information.
Yeah,
and stuff
sometimes
here.
there'd be like 2 or 3 sheriffs and out here, because they'd meet here, talk about something, before they go out. So that's another thing that we plan on. We're gonna open up our police department back to all law enforcement. There's no reason they can't go in there. They have all clearances to go into that police department. So that's something that we plan on doing as well. And that'll maybe bring some more cops down to our end a little bit. I'll tell you that our sole police officer is very excited about this. He was ready to rock when he found out we was going to go and have this conversation. The first thing he said was, good, because I need some help. What we don't want to scare him off. He's a good cop. He knows a lot of people here. He can really talk heavy, hard situations down. I've watched him do it. And he's just really good for us. And I don't want to get him so overworked. I've already changed his hours to accommodate us. So instead of him working 4 days a week, he's working 5 days a week. So, most cops work 4 days a week. And so he's already giving a lot extra to us. And, and when he's saying, I really need the help and there's nobody to help him, this is a good way for us to be able to get cops in here today that know what they're doing, that can help him, and they can, if he has questions, and, guide him along, and give him some backup. This is, we will not vote on this tonight. This is not something I'm going to ask you guys to vote on. This is not, I want to bring it to you. I want you guys to give me your opinion. This also has to be approved by the Yakima County Commissioners, because they are in charge of the Sheriff's Department. So the commissioners would have to sign off on this agreement as well. The sheriffs don't feel that'll be an issue because they signed off on the agreement for Natchez without an issue. And so we're pretty confident that it'll pass through them. We just need to see what you guys want to do. We don't want to go any further with it if, it's not something you guys want to do. But I really think that we should. We can stop it at any time. It's a yearly thing. If we have 2 cops by the end of the year, that's going to be really good. But I can't guarantee that.
Now, don't we pay dispatching through the county also?
We do. And yeah, we do.
Whether they respond or not.
Right. Because dispatch is not guaranteed a response. That's just dispatching a cop. And if our cop isn't here to get dispatched, it gets put on hold.
In order to go back to our own, what do we need, a chief and 2 officers? Is that what we would be looking for?
Well, honestly, there's a lot of different ways we can go about this.
I think we just need 2 officers, because the one guy said has all the credentials, right?
Which one?
The one we have now.
Oh, well, he has credentials, but he has the certificates and the knowledge that he needs to keep our department open. He doesn't have the amount of service that he would need to be a chief. You want at least 10 years of service, 15, a lot of times 20, and he only has a couple years then. So he's still learning himself. And he's very lucky that he has the Sheriff's Department, he has Sunnyside PD he reaches out to when he has a question. They're the ones that's really mentoring him, because I'm not a cop. I can't do that,
So if we have more than 1 officer, we have to have a chief? Is that what you're saying?
No.
Oh,
No.
that's what I'm saying, that we don't.
No, but
know.
if we want to go back to just us.
Right. If
No,
if at some
department,
point
yeah.
we could staff our police department where ideally we want a chief and 2 cops. That's our ideal police department for right now, is a chief and 2 cops, but we're just having problems doing that. Now, something that we discussed a little bit today, just between us, amongst us, is, we could, if this works out well, and, maybe later on, do a second contract like the same, and then have only one cop here and have that cop our marshal. To oversee like we used to oversee everything that happens in town. We can have a marshal instead of a chief, and you can only have one cop if you have a marshal. And so, back, Bonnieville, right? Who was the marshal? We had a marshal here, right?
We had
Costello.
Quite a few of them. Costello was
and
one.
then Was, what was his name, lived in that quarter?
Larson?
Robertson? No.
I don't know, but we was reading and we've had marshals in the past, so it's like, well, maybe, just throw it up there. Maybe that's something we could do, maybe if this works out the way I'm hoping it will, and we say, hey, this is working good, let's do a second one and then make our cop our marshal, that might work out too. But that's not something we want to do today either.
Because that only give us 2 police officers, a marshal and 1 police officer.
It-
We only have 2 bodies in.
Yeah, but the thing is like with the sheriffs, you never know when they're coming. That's the good thing. They're not gonna come every day at 1 o'clock. They're gonna come one day at 1, one day at 4, when they have the time to come and guarantee the time. So, but for right now, I just think that we need to get somebody else in here to help out our cop. And with it, we have a dog catcher, which we really need. We're getting the handle on the dogs, but it's been a minute. We haven't had nobody come for a while.
How
So-
many you think they're really gonna try to catch?
Well, the dog catcher that works for the county, he's a pretty good young man. I've spoken to him many times when he was coming here in the
Oh,
past.
so they'll send somebody else, not the sheriffs themselves?
No, the sheriffs, no, it'll be an actual,
They got their own animal
Is
control.
that
They have their
included,
own
is
animal
that
control.
included in the 3 hours?
yeah, it's in here.
So we maybe we get a police officer 1 hour, or a sheriff, and then the animal control another 2 hours in.
Maybe, whatever we want, however we want to do it, we'll be able to do it.
But we're in control of that, we can.
We're in control of that.
I don't like the 21 hours a week for that much, but I guess 21 hours a week, that's nothing, but
I know, but you have to, with that, and it's not, but with it, you know you're gonna get a seasoned police officer that knows what they're doing. They're gonna have all the capabilities and and we're gonna have somebody that's got our cops back. So if our cop calls and says,
We
hey,
don't need to let the public know we only have them 21 hours, if they don't know when to expect them or how often, that's gonna be in our favor too.
Plus, we got coverage if one of them was on vacation.
exactly, one of them gets hurt, not our problem. One of them goes on vacation, not our problem. Doesn't matter, we still get our hours. They still will send somebody. They get in an accident, not our problem. They, Lord forbid, they get shot here going into a house, not our insurance, not our problem. They'll have to replace the police officer and bring us someone else.
But you gotta also think about the wear and tear on the vehicles too,
Yeah.
and the equipment that is used. We don't have to maintain it. The county will.
Okay.
So how many good vehicles do we have of police cars? Good vehicles?
Good vehicles, 2.
2? Okay.
One's pretty good, one's 60%. The other 2 aren't very good at all. Yeah. And that's something that we had on our budget. Next year was, the end of this year for the police department was to buy another new car for the police department. If we had it in the budget, we're gonna buy another car. And we might still do that. We have lots and lots of money in there, in that budget. I was sort of surprised because we're in the middle of all of that right now, but we really haven't had a lot of police officers, and
But it would be nice just to have a new car so we could have at least for this officer to
Right.
use and put the other one aside.
and so we'd have 2 really decent, a new one and a
Yeah.
really decent one. So
If the money's there, we might as well use it and have a car.
what do you guys think of
We have
this?
a car, we only have 1 officer.
Diana, tell me what you think of this.
Well, I'm for it because we don't have any officer. I'm for it.
Sophie? Answer.
Yes.
Thank you.
I'm for it as long as we keep trying to get our own.
Yeah, try
Okay.
to get our own.
Judy?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, so I'll go ahead and reach out to him, tell him that I spoke to you as council, that you guys are okay with this, and then we can just keep going forward with that. The next time, when we bring it back to you, we'll have everything, you know, that we need to have for you guys on the contract. And I don't know when it'll happen, hopefully sooner than later. But I'll reach out to them tomorrow and let them know that you guys have, yeah. Yeah, last time, when I walked in this time, I told them, you know, we've had this conversation once, I was a brand new mayor, and I really didn't know what I was doing, and now I do, and we need to get this done. And so they did, I mean, we really stepped up, and that's when they said, hey, maybe we can do something like this, because we can't really give you an officer, 3 officers right now. And that's why it was so expensive last time, because they didn't have the 3 cops to give us.
Yeah.
And so they were jacking our rates up because they had to be able to cover that. So with this, it's a much better thing. So I'll just let them know, and then we'll go to commissioners and see what they think about it. And then we'll bring it back to you, okay? Okay, very good. Thank you very much. We don't have an executive session. We'll go ahead and adjourn this meeting at 6:58.